I think it's a testament to this ensemble. We just had so many good actors.
And Steve, I think, is the heart and soul of the film.
Yes,
Totally agree. I don't think he quite got fat enough, but otherwise I agree. I agree.
Now we can kick him in the teeth.
Okay, here we go.
I think you'll understand when I say, that you wouldn't think of the team behind Anchorman as the first people to bring this to the screen, but you did it, yay. What attracted you to the project, and how did you even start?
It came quite simply out of reading the book. I picked up the book one night at around 9 o'clock and was just like, I was sort of interested in the financial crash and couldn't put it down. Lewis's original book just had such an energy to it. I love the characters. I love the information. I love the sort of elation of it, yet at the same time ending with tragedy. And from that moment on, it just became kind of a dream project for me.
And you look at this cast, you have to assume that you got your first choice in every situation. When you're
third or fourth choices.
Who was above Brad Pitt?
Brad Pitt, I'm trying to think who we actually wanted LeBron James.
So, Steve, how did the script find its way to you, or did Adam just bring it up and you said,
Adam just sent it to me and said, read the book.
Actually, by accident. I was sending him another email, and it was attached, and then you liked it.
And then you felt guilty.
This is awkward.
Well, I feel very lucky then. He just sent it to me, and I read it, and we talked about it, and I was in. And then when he started talking about the other people who he was asking to be in it, it was really heady company.
Was it always the role of Mark, or did he sort of send it to you and just say, take a look at this?
No, it was always that role.
And obviously you've played real people before, although you didn't get to meet John DuPont, but you actually spent time with the person who Mark is based on?
I did, I went to New York and I met with him. We had breakfast at a little diner on the Upper East Side, and then he said, my wife and kids want to meet you. So we walked over to his apartment and I spent some time over there hanging out with him. And he's an interesting guy, because he's incredibly intelligent, he's very brash, and he's a guy who feels supremely comfortable in any situation. For example, he came to set, I think the second day I was shooting, and he was told, and I don't know by who, by the producers,
I think by me.
Probably by Adam, don't hang out around the monitor, and...
Actually, Robin Woolley, I think, told him that,
Yeah.
Or one of our co-producer, Robin
Just
Woolley.
sort of make yourself scarce, and because there are a lot of moving parts, a lot of things that are going on. And he almost immediately walked over, sat down at the monitor, was giving Adam notes, was giving me notes, but they were good notes. So that's the other thing. He's so smart, he can back up his brashness and his boldness.
The funniest thing was he came behind the monitor, he was giving us notes, and I started to tell him, look, Steve, while you're here, you can't. And in the middle of me talking to him, he got a call. He's like, hold on, I have to take this. And he walked away. I swear to God.
And he's sort of a rumpled guy. And Adam, when we first started talking, said at the time he was quite a bit heavier than he is now. So Adam asked me to put on some weight, and I did. And he said. Adam said that his clothes should not be bad clothes, that they just shouldn't look good on him. And when I first met him, his fly was down the entire time. And I thought, well, that's sort of perfect,
Did you want to use that in the movie, but you almost kind of can't?
How do you know if I didn't? You obviously weren't watching.
It seems so absurd, but it's one of those things that actually is true.
That constantly was kind of the issue with this movie, was that there were so many things that seemed so perfectly written. And, Steve and I would talk about this, like the speech he gives at the Bear Stearns collapse is beyond a movie moment. So we felt like calling it out. We were always like, these are too perfect, these characters are too crazy.
Can you talk about the decision to break the fourth wall, which I actually don't think I've ever seen done so well on film before, but it's a risky choice.
Yeah, we kind of joked about it, like the first thing they tell you in film school is show, don't tell. It's the number one rule of movie making. We're like, let's not do that rule. We sort of felt like this story what I loved about the book was that it was, obviously the characters drive it, but the information is so exciting. It's so exciting to see behind the curtain of Wall Street. And, I had seen the movie 24-Hour Party People that I really loved. And, yeah.
The filmmakers from that aren't here, so.
Is that Winterbottom? Is he here? And American Splendor was another one. And then, Steve and I both come from a theater background in Chicago where we played with Breaking the Fourth Wall. And I really just felt like in this day and age, audiences are sophisticated enough that you can do that and then jump back into the story. I don't know if we would have done it 30 years ago, but nowadays with so much media, we decided that the information was almost part of the story. So we took that leap.
And you obviously adapted the book, and you're speaking a lot of the jargon in this. Did you completely understand what was going on at all times?
I had an earbud, and Adam just spoke to me the entire time. I had a little earwig. It was, yeah, I mean, obviously we were learning the lines, but Adam also likes to improvise while we're working, so to improvise in a language that you don't speak is a bit daunting. So we had to shove some stuff into our back pocket and be ready on the day, at least to sound like we knew what we were talking about.
I'll give Steve credit too. There were several cast members that sort of took to the language, and Steve was one of them that got sort of the shape of what they were talking about. Jeremy Strong was also really good with it. Ryan Gosling. We obviously had a consultant on set, Adam Davidson, who's a big financial journalist, so we had some aid and help. But no, Steve was really good with it.
Aside from the counterpoint of Mark Baum, was there anyone else who was involved in the story who actually came to set or had say in the movie?
I think we had all the real people visited at one point or another. I certainly had dinner with all of them. I mean, Michael Burry's actually in the movie. If you look closely, yeah, there's a little Easter egg in there of when Tracy Letts and his right-hand man bust into the office. You can see they walk right by. I put Burry, the real Burry, in there on the phone.
Oh my God.
And then, Danny Moses and Vinny and those guys came down and hung out on set. Jamie and Charlie were involved. And I think the only guy was Ben Rickard, AKA Ben Hockett. He was the only one who never came, which was kind of perfect. But he was bunkered down in his house, afraid of the end times.
And have they seen the movie? I mean...
They did. We did screenings for them in New York. It was really cool, actually. Jamie and Charlie, who were so frustrated that no one went to jail, there were no major changes made to the laws, both came out with the biggest smiles on their faces. They were like, "You said the word fraud 14 times."
I am curious when you're portraying real life events and real people. I don't know. I like to pretend Ron Burgundy is real, but I don't know that you've actually done historical.
Eastbound and Down is not real. I guess the Lee Iacocca story is the only real. No, I've never done the Tom Seaver story. No, we've never done real people before. It was very odd. It was really strange.
Was it harder?
Yes. Yeah, and once again, our co-producer Robin knows this, that we constantly had to deal with the real people, and Steve had it on set with the real guy walking around.
Wow.
I mean, we were talking about it on that day, this is very strange to play a character and have the real people sort of over your shoulder looking at you. I never thought of it in terms of comedy. When I've done comedies in the past, I would always think of we're gonna get a laugh here, or here's a funny bit with Brick Tamlin that we're gonna do. And in this case, we always just thought of it as energy. We just thought that in the beginning, when they're sort of catching wind of this trade, there's a lot of energy and you're excited for Mark Baum and you're excited for these characters. They're almost like card counters. So when we first put the movie up, it was really surprising how much the audience was with them, and there were a lot of laughs. I mean, we knew some of it was funny.
Well, Felina Goldman is in.
Yeah, of course. We knew the little explainers would certainly be meta and kind of surprising. So that was from the original script, but I think it's a testament to this ensemble. We just had so many good actors.
And Steve, I think, is the heart and soul of the film.
Yes.
Totally agree. I don't think he quite got fat enough, but otherwise I agree.